What's going on, people? How we feeling? Monday night, JFK. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with me. And you know how this goes. We're going to get to it. We're going to take your phone calls tonight. We're going to talk about how Matty M was on the backup. Big Bad Brian A was hanging tough in the bedroom. Please don't go Nicole. But he didn't hear nobody outside. Matty M was in the car with JM. JFK, when John made the phone call for directions, allegedly, on the way to 34 Fairview. What did he hear? I don't know. Let's get to it.
Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice.
It's showtime.
What are your qualifications?
Kids pick me. You didn't have to, but you picked me. Well, I attended Juilliard. I'm a graduate of the Harvard Business School. I travel quite extensively. What do you think? You think I'm qualified?
Well, you know, we expect our criminals to commit crimes. That's what criminals do. We don't expect that from our law enforcement.
They really credit you with bringing out the government part of the corruption.
Well, you know, we expect our criminals to commit crimes. That's what criminals do. We don't expect that from our law enforcement.
Never visit Massachusetts based on this case?
Exactly, because you would go there as a visitor and leave as a felon or something.
For the memberships, I appreciate you. I got a lot of great things coming behind the scenes. You ain't gonna want to miss it. Thank you again. And if you're wondering what the membership's all about, we got 3 donuts. We got 6 donuts.
Donuts.
6 donuts? 6 donuts. And we got a dozen of Fuckery Donuts. And with that being said, Fuckery Donuts is now open.
Donuts.
Yes. 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 Hey, how we doing, chat? How we feeling out there on this beautiful Monday night? We got Jeff Williams in the chat. What story we telling tonight? I don't know, Jeff. What story do you want to tell? You want to tell the story you want to tell that Karen Reed hit him. He did a backflip. He landed way over there by the flagpole. Oh yeah. The tail light broke like Chinese stars and chopped up his arm and gave him a brain injury. And okay. So that's the story you want to tell? That one? You tell me, Jeff. Phone lines are open tonight, people. You're going to tell a story about Matty M. You know, he was on the backup. He was in the car, right, with Jennifer McCabe driving 234 Fairview. This is where it all started, right? I mean, you know, basically it goes down like, when you really think about it, you have this bar fight that we play. And, you know, people say that this is a mob, the mindless mob. People like Jeff Williams, you know, he is on the other side. I don't know if he calls us a mindless mob, but it seems that people are on that other side. They like to call us names, call us a cult, and say we're a mindless mob. Maybe Jeff, I don't know Jeff, so I don't know if Jeff thinks that. But most people on Twitter go at us and say that this lady right here in this picture right here, Karen Reed, and the people who are supporting her is a mob and it's a cult. I like to call it a movement. I like to call it justice. We've seen what we've seen, right? There's no more conspiracy, people, right? We can all agree on that. We've seen the trial. We all seen the trial, right? Definitely seen the trial. That conspiracy stuff is out the window at this point. Seen the trial. We've seen people lie. We've seen police officers lie. We've seen people like Higgins have lawyers. People like Big Bad Brian A have lawyers. Why is that? Seen people like Colin, a young kid, said he never been in a fight in his life, but yet he's on the internet talking like he's a killer. Why lie? And then why lie and say that you butt dialed somebody, Big Bad Brian A? Why wouldn't you just say, yeah, I did talk to Higgins at 2 a.m.? What's the big deal? If you didn't do nothing, why do you care? Why didn't you come out the house if you had nothing to hide? Isn't it just common sense? Isn't it just common sense? I would assume so. Okay. Okay, so it starts at the bar, right? Starts right here at 11:55. Higgins, you know, they roll up to the bar, him and Big Bad Brian A. They roll up to the bar from the hillside. They're over there and they get the call from Chris A. Like, hey, you want to see something funny? You know, we just got word that Karen and Johnny Boy is just at CF McCarthy's. You want me to call him up and tell him to come to the hillside and join us and see the look on his face when he sees you there, Higgins, and Karen in the same room for shits and giggles? Come on. You want me to do it? Chris A., you know, the quirky dude, the one that makes all the faces, the one that wants to come out clean. Yeah, Chris A. So that's what they did. So right around 11:55, they walked in at 10:55. John O'Keefe did. And Karen walked to the other side of the bar, and John O'Keefe walked right up to Higgins. When he walked up to Higgins and gave him a hug, he gave him that hug like, and gave him that handshake like, man, I know what you've been up to. Karen told me everything. I know what type of time you're on. For the people that don't know what that means, type of time, that means like, I know what you've been doing. I know who you really are, the snake that you really are. And Higgins became unhinged because he's an ATF agent. He's always got things in control. And Big Bad Brian A was in his ear that whole ride from New York. And Jeff Williams, guys like that, you know, and this is no disrespect to Jeff, but he puts himself out there that, you know, Karen did it. So what conversation was Brian A having with Higgins the whole ride home from New York? They're just driving. So tell me what happened, Higgins. Yeah, man, she called me up. She asked me for my number. She said I was good looking. She came to my house. You know, she was really into me, man. And then Big Bad Brian A says, man, you know, the dude, John, man, he's a Boston cop and he's not a punk. And if you feel a certain way, Higgins, about it, maybe you should just tell him the truth. And, you know, maybe you should step to him and confront him. So when John O'Keefe walked up to him and gave him a hug. That's when Higgins became unglued, became unhinged. Higgins became unhinged. Wordplay there, you catch that? Yeah. Please don't go, girl. But Matty M was on the backup. Matty M's watching this whole thing because he knows what's transpiring, and he is more close with John O'Keefe because his wife's Jen McCabe, and they have kids the same age as John's kids. But they also know what's going on with the outsider. Yeah, that outside girl. What's her name? Karen Reed, the outsider, the one that caused all this. She caused it all. Right, Jeff? No matter how you look at it, she caused it. Right? If there was a fight, I would assume that this fight started over Karen. But this is what I see in this video right here as I play it, and I play it over and over again. And when I came into this Karen Reed stuff, I came in with this, with the heel toe, heel toe, heel toe. Shit was going down, and Chris A set it all up, and Matty M was on the backup, and Julie went to get the donuts, but she just was gonna get six that morning. And Jen McCabe, whew, what type of time she was on. These people are just some creative individuals. It's like a movie. I can't make this shit up. So this is what happened, right? And that ride home, Big Bad Brian A, he's getting in his ear. So right here at this moment, when they're play fighting or what have you, peacocking, whatever you want to call it, acting a fool, acting like juveniles, not only does he have to prove something to Cameron Reed, who's in the room, and also prove to John that he ain't afraid of him, he also got to prove it to his boy, Big Bad Brian A, that, hey, man, I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it. They go. You coming outside, man? You coming outside? Are you coming out? Meet me over at 34 Fairview. If you're going to come. You know where to find me. This ain't the time or the place. Let's go. Yeah. Come on, you coming? But keep in mind, Higgins was on the stand, right? If people remember Higgins' testimony, tricks are for kids. Remember that guy, Higgins? I don't think I talked to anybody when I left the bar. I just left. Okay. Sure seems like you talked to somebody before you left. Fair to say, people? Oh, whoa. He's taking a sip of his beer. Heel toe, heel toe. It's going down. And we know what happens next, right? A fight breaks out. So the story I tell, it was a fight, right? But the point is, when they left the bar, keep in mind that John got on the phone with Jen McCabe. I think the first time he talked to Jen McCabe was for 44 seconds. The second time he talked to Jen McCabe was for like 30-something seconds. And then there was a phone call, I think at 12:19 or no, 12:29, excuse me. There was a phone call allegedly that was never answered. Then Jen McCabe walked into the party, right? Based on what she said, she walked into the party, and then at 12:31, she gave him a text like, "Pulling back at me." And the last time she had eyeballs on his car was at that time, 12:29, and then she went out the window at 12:41, and then she said she seen an SUV out there. But we all know that's impossible. And if she did see an SUV, it wasn't Karen's SUV, right? Because Karen was already at 1 Metals Ave at 12:36. So what SUV did she see? Because 12:31, she gave the text, "Pulling back at me," and the next time she went to the window was 12:40. So that means a whole 9 minutes went by. So fair to say another SUV could have pulled up. No? Damn, Jeff. Story gets kind of crazy, doesn't it? But keep in mind, the driveway. Oh, the driveway. So small. It's not a football field like some people would have you believe, that a body could be out there for all these hours and no one would see it. This little small driveway. But Matty M was in the car from after what the footage I just showed you. And if you're on the replay crew or you're just coming in the room right now, we got 102 people up in here. If you're coming in right now, the video I just played at the bar, Matty M was in the car with Jen McCabe, and they were talking. What was that conversation like? Not only was Matty M in the car listening to what his wife was saying, good old Jen McCabe, Cameron was in the car with John, hearing what John was saying. So what was being said? 44 seconds to get an address in 2022? Isn't it just like, yo, what's the address? You put it in your Navi and you pull up. Isn't that the way it goes nowadays? That's what I thought. What would they be talking about 44 seconds, then hang up to call them back again? I don't know. But let's get into some of that testimony with our boy Matty M on the backup. Because he's a real funny guy, if you ask me. And if you don't believe me, you could just hear it from his mouth. It's very interesting to think the stuff that this guy says. Check it out.
Yes.
So Higgins' Jeep was already parked and stationary when there were no tire tracks in that area, correct?
I didn't notice what I parked my car. We parked in the driveway and I walked in the house. So I wasn't looking at the tire tracks. So, but Higgins' Jeep was already parked.
Right. You didn't see tire tracks at that point, is my point.
Yeah, well, I didn't see any.
And at the point that you saw those tire tracks, there were no other vehicles in the area along the Albert family property line on Fairview other than Higgins' Jeep and the black SUV, correct?
That's my recollection, yes.
Okay, so now we're going to go back to where I had left off with regard to meeting your wife, Jennifer McCabe, in the car after leaving the waterfall. You recall that we sort of left off with you getting in the car and starting the drive home.
Yes.
Once you got inside the car, your wife ultimately called John O'Keefe along the ride home, correct?
John O'Keefe had texted my wife, and my wife had called him. He was asking where to. We think he was asking for the where to, where's the address. So she called him to tell him.
And you knew.
She called him to tell him. Why wouldn't she just text the address? Why'd she call him? Why'd she call him? Keep in mind, that first phone call was 44 seconds. What she want to tell him? Was she telling him, like, don't come here? They're going to fight you. They're bullies. Or did she want him to come there? He texted her. Why didn't, usually when someone texts you, you text them back, right? Especially something as easy as 34 Fairview Road.
Knew that he was asking that because the Bluetooth of the car was connected to her phone, correct?
I believe the Bluetooth was on. Again, I could hear his conversation.
Yeah.
My assumption is the Bluetooth was on.
Right. You could hear both sides of the conversation, correct?
I could hear John as well, yes.
Yeah, your wife and John, correct?
Well, yes, I was sitting next to my wife. I could hear her.
And you heard John tell your wife that he was planning to go to 34 Fairview, correct?
Yes.
He had told your wife in your presence that he and Karen would meet your wife and you there, correct?
He said we're on our way.
Right. And you knew, again, the plan was to go inside 34 Fairview, correct?
Yes, that was the plan.
You heard.
Yeah, that was the plan. So what happened? Did something happen in front of 34 Fairview? Makes you wonder.
Your wife tell John that 34 Fairview's off Chapman Street, correct?
Either I was also talking, so I don't know if my wife was repeating, but yes.
He said, I was also talking. So Matty M was on the backup. What was he saying? He probably was saying something like, listen, you should just go there, John, because this is something that you want to settle face to face. Karen was in the wrong. Or, this is, I'm just speculation and the hypothetical. Karen said this and Higgins said this about Karen, and maybe you guys should just come there. And then maybe that's when the fight happened between him and Karen. Like, she's like, nah, let's not go there. They're not your friends. They're starting trouble. And like in my previous lives, I would say, well, why wouldn't Karen just mention that there was some type of funky situation going on with the Funky Bunch? Because Matty M was on the backup, and he's part of the Funky Bunch. Because Big Bad Brian A is down with Donnie. Donnie Wahlberg, New Kids on the Block, Hanging Tough, Step by Step. What story am I telling tonight, huh, Jeff Williams? Well, hey, I think I'm going to make you part of the story there, Jeffrey. I don't even know if I like you anymore, Jeff. Because After watching videos like this over and over again, this guy's a liar. He just said it. My wife texted him and he called my John O'Keefe text my wife and my wife called him back. They talked for 44 seconds, then hung up and talked again. What were they saying? You know what they were saying, Jeff. You know what they were saying.
We did say off of Chapman Street.
It could have been you, could have been your wife, but he was
Yes.
told it was off Chapman Street, right?
That's correct, yes.
And then your wife hung up with John, at least temporarily, but then John called back, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
He indicated he needed more specific directions to 34 Fairview, correct?
Yes.
And then you heard your wife, or maybe you participated in the conversation, I won't rule that out, but between the two of you, you did give him more specific directions, correct?
Yes, we did.
And either you or your wife, and you can correct me if you know if it's one or the other, but one of you told him to go down Chapman and take Fairview as if they were going to Bella's house, correct?
Yes, we had mentioned go down Chapman to Fairview, to, you know where Bella lives, drive past Bella's street. The house will come up when you're left.
Right, and I believe you previously explained that Bella was a friend of John's niece, Kaylee, and also your daughter, Olivia, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
So that was a good way to orient him as to where to go, correct?
Yes.
And once you did that, John O'Keefe never called back for any clarification, correct?
Yes, not to my recollection.
All right, and with regard to your state of mind, based on that conversation and the instructions that either you or your...
See, this is the problem, man, this is the problem with Yannetti. As much as we love Yannetti, right? And just to answer Jeff Williams, I'm just looking at the comments. I'm speculating. I'm definitely speculating, Jeff. I just go through all this footage and I'm just saying, you know, if the video that I just played of a fight at the bar, there's no way when they picked up the phone calls for directions there, they weren't talking like, hey, what's Higgins's problem? What's Brian's problem? And if anybody would know Brian's problem, big bad Brian A, would be Jen McCabe, right? And if anybody he would, you know, pick their brain and confide in, it would be Jen McCabe because he knows Jen McCabe, right? And we're talking John O'Keefe knows Jen McCabe. So 44 seconds, 34, then, you know, first he texts her, you know, and I'm freestyling this. I'm watching. This is what I pick up as I went along, just like little details you pick up when you rewind it, right? So I'm just bringing it to you guys. But we always know that Matty M's on the backup. And how tall you guys think Matty M is? How tall do you think Matty M is? Matty M's probably like 6 foot something. And how big you think he is? He's got to be like, oh, he's got to be like 300 pounds, right? So he could put his body on somebody, right? Hold somebody down, block him in a corner. Sure, he wants to. He's not an ATF agent. No, not a Boston cop. What is he? He's a wannabe. He's Matty M. He's on the backup. Maybe he wanted to prove himself that night. Maybe he was running his mouth that night. Of all we know, maybe Matty M's the one who's the one that threw the first punch. We don't know, right? But I just find it hard to believe if that was the temperature as they're walking out the bar. The phone calls on the way to 34 Fairview, they were talking directions, 44 seconds, 34 seconds. Then this phone call at 12:29 for 8 seconds. That would be right around the time that Karen left, that allegedly was never answered. Just makes you wonder. Just makes you wonder. That's all. Definitely does. But yeah, you know, it's we just know that Matty M was on the backup, and you know so we have this lady right here, what she feels about the whole situation. She doesn't look at Matty M, or you know, people just overlook all this stuff, look over the lies. People just don't lie like this unless, you know, what were you? I think that Yannetti, to segue back what I was trying to say, I think Yannetti should have said, hey, them phone calls were 44 seconds. What were they talking about for directions? 34 Fairview Road. I mean, keep in mind, John O'Keefe's a cop, right? So what happens when he used to be on the beat and the call came in? Control to car number 7. Yeah, 7 to control. Yeah, can you go to 17 Fenton Street for a domestic call? Yep. 7 heading over. 11 going to back them up. Isn't that the way they move? They just need the address. That's it. 7 responding. Isn't that what they do? I don't know. I'm lost, man. Isn't that what they do? I mean, Jeff, you know how they do it. You got a scanner in your back pocket. Ain't that right, Jeff? Jeff got a scanner in his back pocket. But you know, this guy situation is getting kind of crazy when you got Boston media talking some straight garbage like this. What do we feel about this lady right here? The stuff that she was talking. She's a real gem, huh?
Communities and cultures that have very little to do with the death of John O'Keefe, bringing justice, or even if you think Karen Reed is guilty, Karen Reed. You know, if you're on social media, people are calling each other's names. They're criticizing the way they look. They're calling you stupid for not watching the entire every second of the trial. And then in Canton, you have all of these things happen that make you feel like you're in middle school. There are multiple reports to the Canton police that people have been throwing rubber ducks in front of people's houses and in front of the businesses, the D&E Pizza, to make a statement.
Well, let's keep it real, woman. Let's keep it real. You want to talk about juvenile behavior? I mean, this whole case has been snake bitten. Read between the lines. Snake bitten. Read between the lines, huh? Keep a fair view. You know, it's just all juvenile behavior. This whole thing, how it all happened. They're in the bar. They're using Karen and John O'Keefe as entertainment, and then it turned into a fight, and then it turned into a murder. Whether it was accidental, whether they didn't mean to do it, once you put the body on the ground and you don't call the authorities, you're looking at a murder case. So, but then you got dudes like Lally who invert videos. Then you got people like Proctor who say, yeah, she's a babe, but she got no ass. Right? Then you got guys like Big Bad Brian A., a Boston cop, 30 years in the game, saying, I was intimate with my wife and I rolled over on my phone and it must have been a butt dial. Jen McCabe, I didn't text how long to die in the cold. I didn't go get my brother-in-law. I didn't make the phone call that morning that they caught on John's answer machine. Chris A. saying, hey, I had my girl drops off the clothes and that's just a ritual. Oh, don't forget about the donuts. 6 donuts in a blizzard. Had to bring the 6 donuts for a birthday party with snow all over the car. So when you add all that shit up, why not throw some rubber duckies in the mix, lady? It's all fuckery. It's all fuckery. So throwing donuts in the mix is just like, fuck it. You can't beat them, join them. Please don't go, girl. Matty M's on the backup. Hank, he's Beetlejuice. Because he's one of the zombies too. Hopefully, he's a good zombie and he saves the day. He finds his conscience somewhere and he does the right thing. This is what we're dealing with. We got young jerks. We got JFK. We got guys who like to glare out. We got calling all beings. We got Miss Shorty. We got James Jackson. His uncle's Alan Jackson. We got a turtle. Man, we got a lot of characters in this game. Boy, we got a dude named Plevlin. And don't forget about our boy, the DEA agent on the Gulf. There's a lot of characters, man. We're all bringing entertainment to this. But the fact is, we all know what happened. Though. Yeah, it's entertaining. At this point, what can you do? If you're stuck in the middle of an island, just like my boy Tom Hanks, right? When he smashed on the plane, the FedEx plane went down. What was the name of that movie? Casted away because my ex was a Fed, never found who's next in the bed to roll around, fucking to death, left with my face to the ground, the place that I call home. Uh-oh. Just caught a vibe. But, yeah, Castaway. It's real shit. He's stuck on an island, but then he got a ball. He named it Wilson, and he entertained himself. This is what you got to do in trauma situations. You got to entertain yourself. And that's all we're doing. We're entertaining because we have to. Because if you're like this lady right here, look at her. Beautiful woman, isn't she? Oh, I'm not trying to call her name. She's beautiful. She ain't got no issues. Hell no. She's just one of them people that want to play the victim. You know the story, right? If you play the victim, woman, you stay the victim.
Statement in regard of Karen Reed's innocence, or having this phony currency, not real money, but just as a joke. And they're being charged with littering. They're being charged with witness intimidation, or at least being investigated for that. They might be charged. So there's just this crazy culture that has emerged that, again, has nothing to do with finding justice for John O'Keefe's death, about investigating it. If a lot of these people spent less time on social media and less time.
Lady, you're on social media right now. See, this woman, right? I'm not even going to drop her name. She's been on Boston media for years. You've been on social media before it was even called social media. What is it that you're doing right there? You got the nice little jacket on, the polka dotted, button up, the glasses. You got the Tom Brady haircut going on. You kind of look like my boy James. James, is that you? James, is that where you went? God damn it, is that James? Oh, shit. Oh, man, I can't make this shit up, man. What is going on? If we would what? We'd write letters. Listen, this ain't 1988, lady. There's no writing letters no more. It is what it is. The internet's the wild, wild west. You know this, but you want to get on this and play the victim because that's the new wave, the pity party. Oh, welcome to the, oh, there's no justice for John O'Keefe. Oh, there ain't? Oh, there ain't no justice for John O'Keefe. That's not what we're trying to do. I don't know about you, but I feel that every person I just named, all the characters that are influencers, if that's what you want to call us, that have YouTube channels, that want to get the attention of the people who are locked in right now, and all my people in the chat. That's exactly what we're trying to do. We're trying to get to the truth. And when we get to that, that will lead to justice. But you're acting like we lost sight of that. We don't care about that. Of course we do. But sometimes that's just the way it goes, man. Sometimes that's the way things just unfold. That's the way the ball could bounce, and that's the way you might see it. But since you mention it, we definitely want justice for John O'Keefe, woman.
Running around with these protests and maybe writing letters to the district attorney, writing letters and calling the governor's office, calling the attorney general, voting in the election to try and change, finding someone to run against Morrissey if that's what you think should happen, instead of this juvenile behavior, which takes up the police time, takes up the
police. Listen, the police want to run around and arrest kids for mopeds and arrest kids on PK rippers and the SC bikes, the block flyers, the 29 inches, doing wheelies. They want to arrest the dudes at Revere Beach on the top of the beach drinking Hennessy. That's what they want to do because that's easy, because they're lazy. Police don't do police work no more. And that's easy work, catching a dude on a moped, catching a dude with a rubber ducky. Because you're doing that, you're not thinking it's a crime. You guys want to put people on the docket. That's evil. You want to give a docket number and then try to justify it and say, oh, we're going to put them through court to teach them a lesson? Nah, man, you're giving that person trauma. Like, why? Why? If it's so old school, you could just write a letter. Why didn't that cop just walk up to the dude who was slanging the duckies and say, don't do it again? But that ain't the way he did it, right? No, that ain't the way he did it. He mocked that shit up for evidence, man, and he charged his ass and gave him a summons. He went to the clerk, and then they put it through the judge, and he's going to have to go to court. He's going to have to wear some nice clothes like you got on, lady. Might have to wear some glasses like that, too. He's going to have to walk through the metal detectors. He's going to have to wait until his name is called. He's going to have to stand up in front of a judge. He's going to have to probably go to court for the next year of his life. And the crazy thing about it is, if he has a trip plan, he's going to have to work around these court dates because the court dates don't work around your life. Yeah. Isn't that true?
The state police time, it's just chaos and crazy.
I'm sorry, I just can't believe rubber ducks entered into the conversation here.
We have seen it spill over into local government too. The audit of the department, you saw two people yelling at each other, a woman getting escorted out. Is that just sort of par for the course for where we are now?
Well, it is. I mean, it is, as we talk about all the time on that issue in politics. This is what it is. But you have people who are taking sort of the most extreme views, showing up and making the arguments. I talk to people in Canton. I live in Canton for 10 years. Tons of people aren't going to the meetings because they don't want to deal with that craziness. They want their police department audited. Sounds like a great idea, but can't you just get behind the idea that we should be embracing the O'Keefe family for their loss? We should be caring for those children who have been orphaned. If you think that Karen Reed, I mean, there are problems with the investigation, support the Karen Reed movement to try and get some investigations into the district attorney and the state police. And remember, John O'Keefe did nothing wrong and he ended up dead.
Yeah, but what you don't understand, woman, what you don't, you're not making any sense of what you're saying at all. You're saying all these, cute little things on air on Boston media, but you're not making any sense. Basically, what you're saying is there's murderers walking around Canton right now. A guy at a pizza shop. He's part of a murder. And the murderers, that's the justice. Why you think they're going at him with the ducks? They're going at him with the ducks, not because they feel a certain way about him as far as like any other reason, should I say. They feel a certain way about him because they know he's involved in a murder. So the ducks is just letting you know that we know that you killed John O'Keefe. So right then and there, them ducks, you might look at it as just little rubber duckies and a piece of rubber, but it's a little bit deeper than that, isn't it? Because he's poking the bear just to let everybody know the murderers are walking around the city of Canton. And they're out there living their life every day while poor John O'Keefe is in the dirt. That's what that rubber ducky represents. Isn't that true? Am I wrong? That's what I think. See, you got to always look at the creativity process, because this guy was on his creative shit. He was thinking, how can I get creative, not cross the line, but still make an impact? Sometimes you got to do that. And he thought in his mind, I'll get creative and I'll put the duckies out there. There's no way they'll look at that as any harm, but the message will be in there. The message will be there, because every time Chris looks at that duck, is corny and juvenile, whatever how you want to flip it and look at it, it still penetrates in his mind. Like, hey, people don't believe me. People know the truth. So that's what it is. And when the cops come in and arrest them, they're basically saying they're siding with murderers. Don't you see that? But you want to call it juvenile and want to say it's something different. Of course you would say that, because you want to be the victim. Delusional accountability. You want to put some accountability on us and call us a mindless mob. We don't know what we're doing. We took it to the next level. No, we made an impact, and y'all ain't doing anything about it. Karen Reed's going to court on the 6th, trying to flip a murder case that she got found out guilty on. The fuckery continues. How we feeling out there, chat? How we doing? 158 people in the room. Let me see what else this guy was saying right here. Our boy Matty M on the backup. Just gotta pull up. So Matty M, like I said, he was on the backup. He was in the car with Jen, and he knows what was being said. And it is what it is. And he wants to act clean, but he was probably deep into it. That's what I assume, because he has a lot to prove, just based on who he is. Like, how about that? Why don't we drop it like that, and we'll just get an idea how Matty M really is, since we got these people up in the house. If you guys had one word to describe Matt McCabe, one word to describe Matt McCabe, what would it be? This is your chat, people. Woo! One word to describe Matty M on the backup. Let's go. There's some good ones, man. Wow. That's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah. Let's see what he got to say real quick, this guy. This is why there's rubber duckies all over Canton, because guys like this are walking around. Guys like this are walking around, so now there's rubber duckies. You know, it's funny because they're putting rubber duckies out there because they don't want to do crime. So you should let him go. He's trying to be polite about it, but you guys want to take it somewhere else. Play the victim, stay the victim.
Okay. So your answer to my question is the them was you were saying that Channel 4 should be told that the guy never went in the house. Yes or no?
Channel 4 was who I was referencing. Yes.
No further question.
All right, you are all set, Mr. McCabe. I will take those documents.
So he done folded his papers like he was.
Court's back in session. Please be seated.
It's the craziest thing ever, man.
Stanetti.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. McCabe, when we broke, I was just about to ask you about the last exchange here. You will agree with me that on February 1st of 2022 at 12:51 and 49 seconds, you texted the group chat to say, ask Chris to ask some questions, correct?
Yep, I'm reading it right now. Yes, that's correct.
And who was the Chris you were referring to?
That would be Chris Albert.
Brian's brother, correct?
That is correct.
And then you texted your wife, Brian Albert, and Nicole Albert, quote, tell them the guy never went in the house, correct?
Yeah, that's part of the same text. Yes.
Mr. McCabe, who was the guy that you were referring to? Does he have a name?
That would be John O'Keefe.
When you told the group to tell them the guy never went in the house, that was you talking about how you should all get your stories straight, correct?
No.
You would agree with me that your stories are all straight in terms of the guy never went in the house, correct?
Objection.
Can you answer that?
John never went in the house. It's not a story, it's a fact.
Well, when you said, tell them the guy never went in the house, Brian Albert was on that exchange still, was he not? He was still part of the group text?
Yes, Brian is on the exchange.
And Brian Albert was the one to respond, wasn't he?
Let me switch pages here.
You know what he said, man. Let me switch pages. Come on, bro.
He responded, did he not?
Yeah, you know what
Yes,
he said.
he did.
And then at that point, you knew Brian Albert was the oldest brother of the Albert family, correct?
Come on, man.
Yes, that's correct.
The oldest sibling in that family, correct?
Sheesh.
Yes, that's correct.
And in his response to your instructions that his younger brother, Chris, should say that John O'Keefe never went in the house, or the guy never went in the house, you would agree with me that he responded with one word, correct?
Oh, yeah. One word. What was that one word?
Yes, he did.
What's that one
In
word?
response to you saying the guy never went in the house,
What's that one word?
Brian Albert's response was, exactly, correct?
Yes, that's his response.
So, we're done here, baby. We're done here. We're done here. Now, that's what I'm saying. So why is there rubber duckies around? Because, listen, there's rubber duckies around because there's people like that around that went on the stand the next day after your friend is on the, forget being a police officer and all that. This is supposed to be your friend. You're on a group chat and you guys are worrying about making sure you tell the media that he's not in the house. He never came in the house. And then saying they're digging up the yard and you're in front of the house. You're there. You're on the backup, Matty. He's on the backup for your boy Big Bad Brian A. Donnie, you're Matty. He's Donnie, Maki, Donnie, Matty, Brian, Big Bad Brian A, Matty M. Yeah. Real cute. And you're on a group text talking all this crap. Never once did you guys say, man, what about the poor kids? What are they going to do? Who's going to take care of the kids? Well, how did he die? How did he end up on the lawn? How does this even happen? Or you guys didn't even say anything bad about Karen. Like, damn, how could this girl Karen just hit him and leave him? Nah, that's not what you were talking about. Because you wasn't talking about and speculating on what happened. Oh, no, you wasn't doing that because you knew exactly what happened. I appreciate that, Nelson. I really appreciate that. So Matty M was on the backup. And, don't forget about Big Bad Brian A. He's a new kid on the block. He thinks he's from Dorchester. And, he was hanging tough, for real.
After you went to bed between the hours of 1:45 a.m. and 6:30 a.m.?
Yes.
Who did you call?
I inadvertently called Brian Higgins.
I inadvertently called Brian Higgins, but Big Bad Brian A, man, he was hanging tough on the stand, wasn't he? Was he not hanging tough? Oh, man, he's a real new kid on the block. Hanging tough. Ooh, 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 ooh. Boom, 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 boom. Dorchester, dude. Fenton Street. Dorchester Ave. Look at this dude.
Say you inadvertently called him at 2:22 in the morning.
Yes.
How did you inadvertently call him?
Watch this.
Well, I don't know because it was inadvertent.
Oh, shit. Man. This is why there's rubber duckies all over Canton. This is why people are mad. You let this dude get on the stand and say, I don't know why it was inadvertent. I inadvertently did it, and I wouldn't know because it was inadvertent. Like, he's a professional. This guy been on the stand over 500 times, probably about 500 times between probation surrenders and just being in court in general, man. This dude knows what to say. It's crazy. This is why we're mad, because look at what we're seeing. Any other person would be like, listen, I talked to my boy Higgins, man. He asked me if I'm good, that I drink too much, that I sniff too much coke, that I smoke too much weed. Is everything good? We had a good day. We chopped it up. I don't know. I got, you would just say that you talked to him. Why ain't he admitting that he talked to him? Why is it got to be a secret butt dial? I mean, I just don't get it.
Isn't it true that at the other hearing you indicated that at or around the 2:22 time frame, you and your wife were in bed together in an intimate situation?
Yes, around that time.
Nasty. Come on. Yeah, he was up there. Nicole, I love you, baby. Love you, girl. Yeah, he was up there having sex with his wife. He didn't notice all this, though.
Between the hours of 1:45 a.m. and 6:30 a.m.
He didn't notice none of the police outside in front of his house. He didn't notice none of that. He was up there just getting it in with his wife. Don't go, Nicole. Wow, huh? Nasty. You didn't notice none of this stuff, though, Big Bad Brian A? Oh, wow, what's going on in here? We're making love, baby. Yeah. We didn't notice none of this. We didn't notice none of this out in front of the house. We were too busy in the moment. We made such good love that night, baby girl, that we slept right through all this. This is what happened. Yeah. Maybe this is why there's rubber duckies all over Canton. Maybe this is what really happened. We know what really happened. Drop that shit. I love you, Nicole. Oh, what really happened? Ah! No! Jeez! R.I.P. John O'Keefe. What were they really doing? Huh? What were they really doing? Huh? What were they really doing? Huh? Yeah. Come on now. We know what they were really doing. That's why there's rubber duckies. That's why cats like Plevlin and all you people talking jazz and want to talk about tail lights and this and all that. Hey, man, we could just go on that. He was making love to his wife. Please don't go, Nicole. It's Big Bad Brian A. Matty M was on the backup. R.I.P. Officer John O'Keefe. We can't say it enough. R.I.P. Officer John O'Keefe. Hope you guys are entertained. I really do. I hope you guys are entertained. And, you know, this is wild, man. This is a wild, wild case. I'll tell you that. Phone lines are open. Anybody want to give me a call? You know, we can get to it. And we can talk. We could talk. You guys could tell me how you're feeling. And let me know what's going on. Give me a call. Phone lines are open. Please don't go. Please don't go, girl. Nah, Nicole. Matty M was on the backup. Linda Mitchell. When she came out and rehomed the dog shortly afterwards. Yeah, I'm not going anywhere, okay? I'm done. You are the best, JFK. Thank you, Amber. Appreciate that. Jeff, please call in. He's not calling in. People married for 20 plus years in their 50s down to fuck at 2 a.m. Oh, man. Great show. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Catherine.
To accept.
You're live with JFK. What's going on? How we feeling? Who we talking with?
Catherine.
Hey, Catherine. How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Where you calling from? Where you calling from?
I'm calling from Arizona.
Arizona. What's going on?
Well, it just makes me so frustrated that the fact that there's so many people that say that Karen Reed is guilty, which, you know, the evidence proves that she's not.
Right.
It just gets so frustrating. I mean, some of these people are smart people.
Right.
But they're being so stupid.
Indeed. I agree. But, you know, this is what it is, because it's a lot easier to say that she hit him, you know, than talk about there's a conspiracy or whatever you want to call it at this point. I wouldn't call it a conspiracy, the truth, you know. Sometimes that hurts, right?
Yeah, that's the truth. It just gets so frustrating sometimes because, you know, I live in another state and I've seen all the court hearings and stuff like that. And it's just, why are people so blind?
Well, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, they do things like this. You know, this is they're a real. It's the towns in Massachusetts are a real funny place. Canton and Stoughton's next door to each other. There's certain towns that are right next to each other, and everybody in these towns that are only miles away from each other just think they're better than everybody. And at the end of the day, you know, this is what they pulled. They pulled a fast one, and you know, they did it before with Charles Stewart. There's a case called Charles Stewart way back in '93. It happened. He said
I know about that one.
He said he killed his wife, a man, you know, and he shot himself. He almost killed himself. And the crazy part about it is they got footage of all that. And you know, and then there was my man Sean Ellis, trial 4. You know, there's a history of this stuff. If the Commonwealth will indict a ham sandwich, that's the best I can tell you.
That's a good one.
Yes.
Because you're right. That's absolutely right.
Yes.
But thanks for taking my call, and I appreciate it.
Hey, absolutely. Call anytime.
Well, you have a good evening.
You too. Peace and love.
Bye.
Bye. Yeah, anybody that wants to call in, let me know. The Commonwealth has nothing but lies. Yeah, this is true. Yeah, if you guys want to call in, I got the number up there. I'll throw that up there right now again. Give me a call. Let me know what we're talking about. See, Matty M was on the backup. He was in the car with Jennifer McCabe. All my people on the replay crew. If you're just checking in and you're watching the replay crew, we love you too. Cash App JFK Show Off if you're feeling nice. There's super thanks. You can check the super thanks out. Give it a try. It's right there in the comment section. Little $sign. Check it out. If you want to support, or just like it on the way out. Like it after you see this video. Tell your friends. Subscribe. Share it on your socials if you're feeling gracious. Replay crew, we love you too. All my people in the chat, you could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with me. And if you want to call in, give me a call. I'm taking the calls. Yeah, so Matty M, 100% was on the backup. He was in the car with Jen McCabe. What was Jen McCabe saying for 44 seconds on the first phone call, 30-something seconds on the second? 12:29, there was a phone call. Matty M was right next to his wife. And, you see in my other lives, I talk about Karen. What did Karen know? Well, what did Matty M know? And then Matty M, he made sure he was in front of that house, making sure, he kept his eyes on that crime scene. He was on the backup for real. And, big bad Brian A., he was up there with his wife, hanging tough. He didn't hear nothing that was going on outside his house. Considering if he heard a raccoon outside, right, he would come rushing out, I'm sure. Phone lines are open. Phone lines are open. We'll see if anybody has the heart to call. If not, we'll be wrapping this up. And I'll play this real quick. At the end of the day, when you look at this right here, and you go downstairs into the dungeon, real easy, you could get into this house without nobody seeing you. Everybody could be in the kitchen, and you could just go right downstairs, and no one would see you. And ironically, when you go down here, this is just common sense. There's a weight room, and he had a big gash on his head. R.I.P. John O'Keefe, laying right there on the curb. But then when you back up, right, look at how small this driveway is. So when Matty M on the backup pulled out with 4 people in his car, nobody seen John O'Keefe right there. That's exactly what it would look like if you pulled out that driveway. Come on, let's do it again. He's right there by the curb, right? He's pulling out. There's no John O'Keefe. There's no John O'Keefe. And that's just a fact. That's just a fact. Phone lines are open. Phone lines are open. And that's what it is. If we could just go on, Matty M was in the car with Jen, 44 seconds, 36 seconds on the phone call. Keep in mind, he texted first. Johnny texts first. What's the address? She called back. Why'd she call back? And why'd they talk so long? That's just a question. And the only reason why I say that question, because look at how the temperature was when they left the bar. We seen it. We see it through the visuals of a video. Never mind being there in real time. What was being said, what was heard, Yeah. Evil, the actual hero was on the ground dying alone. True indeed, Andrea. True indeed. Jess, I often remember the feds. Well, you guys are having a great conversation. Samantha should just move to Boston. She loves this stuff. Kevy Kev, Matt's a chump. Yeah, he is. And Yeah. Well, like I said, Matty M was on the backup. It's 10:30. I've been at it for an hour. Please don't go, girl. Make sure you guys subscribe, like. We'll be back. Peace and love.
Sir, did you make any phone calls after you went to bed between the hours of 1:45 a.m. and 6:30 a.m.?
Yes.
Who did you call?
I inadvertently called Brian Higgins.
You say you inadvertently called him at 2:22 in the morning.
Yes.
How did you inadvertently call him?
Well, I don't know because it was inadvertent.
Isn't it true that at the other hearing you indicated that at or around the 2:22 time frame, you and your wife were in bed together in an intimate situation?
Yes, around that time.
Nasty.
Memberships, I appreciate you. I got a lot of great things coming behind the scenes. You ain't gonna want to miss it. Thank you again. And if you're wondering what the membership's all about, we got 3 donuts. We got 6 donuts.
Donuts.
6 donuts? 6 donuts. And we got a dozen of fuckery donuts. And with that being said, Fuckery Donuts is now open.
Donuts.
I lost in the page. When I say 19, y'all say 88. 19. 19. When I say 19, y'all say 88. 19. 19. When I say like this, y'all say special like this. Special like this.
Read between the lines. Yeah.
I stand center stage. You ain't no killer. That wrench in the case. You didn't ask for that time. You were trying to get away. Now you glorify a deal like it's 88. When I say 19, y'all say 88. 19. When I say static, y'all say selector. Static. When I say like this, y'all say special. Like this. Like this. Like this. They lock us up. We look you down when I should turn your back on me. I can feel you running. They on Instagram, look at the wheels they running. Aesthetically we up, we sitting chills for suckers. Static. Hey yo, I'm from Boston, Massachusetts, and there's a lot of corruption going on right now. So throw your peace signs up right now. Yeah, I go by J.F.K, Justice for the Kids. Yeah, free Karen Reed.